Hey guys, I'm looking over the wreckage of the battlefield after this battle that Seth and I just fought that I'm fixing to show you right now. But I just wanted to film this little bit to let you know that the audio in some places is not good, especially at the very beginning. But I didn't want it to turn you off from watching the whole battle because I think this is probably one of the more fun battles that I've filmed and definitely has some of the more cinematic moments. So I just wanted to tell you about it, to warn you about it. There's some pops and hisses. Maybe you can just pretend that that is the sound of distant gunfire. And since I'm doing corrections, I also just wanted to take a quick moment to tell you that when we were talking about the armies, Seth said that he had a couple of Fallschirmjäger squads, and what he meant to say was he had Waffen-SS. So just a little mistake, and as you know, there are many that I make, and there's probably going to be more in this video that you find. You guys are usually pretty easy on me about that kind of stuff, but I just didn't want those mistakes to detract you from watching this video because I think it's really good, so highly recommend sticking around and watching it. But yeah, we're going to get to the battle right now. I just wanted to let you know that. Thanks.
All right, guys, welcome to another Texas Bolt Action Battle Report. Very special battle for you here today. I'm here with my good friend Seth. Seth actually has done some of the earliest Bolt Action battle reports with me, but I think that due to technical difficulties, I think there's a chance that none of them have ever aired on the channel. So I think I always forgot to include certain footage or something. Something bad always happens. So yeah, so today is going to be his first game on the channel. He was going to bring his Italians, but he just moved recently and he couldn't find them, so he's going to be putting a list together with my Germans. And I got a lot of positive feedback from you guys about this table, about wanting to see the British on this table. So we are back in Death Valley for another game. This time the British against a little bit more up-armored German armored division looks like. So I'm going to start with what the British are going with. So today I've got a regular first lieutenant. He's going to obviously be supported by his free artillery observer. He has a sniper, a medium machine gun, and a mortar for support. As for the squads, we have two regular British squads, 7 men. There is 2 5-man veteran squads in their respective Bren carriers. And then we also have one SAS squad, which I've never played with before, but apparently they are fanatics and they don't take the -1 for outflank. So I'm going to give them a try and see what we can do. I've also got a Bofors mounted on, or being towed by a Bren carrier. And then we've got a classic Sherman 2 that's been painted by Andy Singleton. I actually bought this from him online. Kind of was always one of my favorite tanks of his, and so I'm excited to have it on the table. I looked at I'm using the Tunisia selector. We're kind of in Sicily right now, but I was disappointed to see that the British don't really have a Operation Husky selector, so I just used the Tunisia selector and found it a little bit limited. So the Brits are going to have a little bit of a struggle today, I think, in this rugged terrain. All right, we're going to go over here to the Germans and see what Seth has. This is a 12 50-point list. Seth has a regular first lieutenant, correct?
Yeah, regular first lieutenant.
You wanna?
Yeah, I'll go through this. Just, regular first lieutenant supported by a little buddy. I got a 4 artillery observer. I've got an 8-man of Heer Grenadiers with a light machine gun and 2 assault rifles.
Assault rifles. Okay.
I've got 1, 2, 3 more Heer squads of 5-man with light machine guns. 2 Fallschirmjäger squads with 4 Panzerfaust in between them. I've got 2 transports for the Fallschirmjägers. I cannot remember what this is for the life of me.
The STKFC with the light AT gun. Yeah,
correct. Got the Panzer IV, the medium mortar, the medium machine gun, and a sniper team.
Okay. So the scenario that we're thinking that we're going to try to do today is frontal assault. So it's from the WWPD website. It's still up online. You can still find it. So we're going to do deployment first, and we'll explain the scenario after we do the deployment. But I think this is going to be a fun game, and yeah, looking forward to it. So stay tuned for the deployment. All right, guys, we're back after deployment.
And so the deployment, the way the scenario works is you have a no man's land running across the table, and you can see that there. It's denoted by these yellow bottle caps, and it runs kind of from diagonal table point to diagonal table point. And there's 6 inches of no man's land on either side. So your deployment zone is basically like a triangle anywhere on this side of the table. That's 6 inches. So let's see, mine spans from the medium machine gun there all the way over to all of these guys over here. We still let snipers and spotters set up anywhere on their half of the table. So I've got my artillery spotter positioned up here on this hillside, and Seth has done the same over there. So I'll go over with what the British have. So basically, like we've got the line. The British still kind of hold this hill over here, and they've placed one objective marker over here on this first trench line. So that's what the Germans have to control if they want to try and take an objective. The defenders, who are the Germans, get to place 2 objectives, and they've got one up here on the top of the hill, so that's going to be a lot of work for the British. And then they've also got one placed inside of this command post over here, this bunker on top of this other hill. So we are gearing up for a really dirty slog up in these rugged foothills. So I placed 2 squads forward up here, 2 regular squads. They're keen to get up on this hill and start taking ground. The Beaufort, they're going to be supported by the Beauforts and its Brent carrier that's kind of also covering the hill. Over here we have a defensive line. There is a British sniper positioned here, as well as a mortar team. We've got a medium machine gun team here that also has a pretty good field of fire, and of course, as I mentioned earlier, the observer. So that's what the British are starting turn 1 with. Everything else is in reserve. The Germans are going to start turn 1. They've got their sniper up here in a little nest, who has a brilliant field of fire over here. There is I assume that's your officer team, or no, that's just part of the squad. So the squad here is kind of sticking mostly to the back of the ridge, get some cover from that. That's a 8-man Waffen-SS squad, correct? Here squad, okay, so these are just regulars. Over here we have one SDKFZ parked in the town with some soldiers in it. I think it's got a Here squad in that.
That one's the Waffen.
That's got the Waffen-SS, okay, so they're just waiting there. Detachment of Waffen-SS. There's a Panzer IV also just waiting for a juicy target to come down that road. And then we also have a mortar team over here. And I think up here in the CP, no, just an objective. There's also a medium machine gun positioned up here in this building. I assume they're in the building, right?
Yes.
So they're looking out inside of that building, and they can see the British lines over here. So that's going to be how we begin the game. Once the game starts, once we go to turn 2 and reserves start coming on, they just come on the long table edge or in outflank. Before we start, I'm going to definitely put some units in outflank. I'm sure Seth might as well. But we're going to go ahead and play turn 1, and we will let you know what happens. So stay tuned. Okay, guys, we are back after turn 1, and turn 1 saw a few things happen. I'm going to start over here, though. The British are starting to make their advance to the base of the hill. The Bren carrier that was towing the Beauforts has moved up to support them, just kind of ran across there. There's some guys over here that are hoping to kind of get up the hill. They can't cross this cliff, so they're going to have to find a different route, either this way or this way. To get up onto the mountain to crust. The other squad has found some nice hard cover here behind this rock. They took a little bit of fire from one gentleman in this squad who was able to see around the corner, and he missed, but he was taken out by the Beauforts, which fired from that tree line over there. You can see the puff of smoke where the Beauforts fired and dissolved him. So that also happened to be the officer of this squad. So that squad is now at a permanent -1 for morale. But they are right next to their own officers, so I'm sure that he'll be able to get them to do what he needs them to do. Seth did just kind of pull the squad back a little bit to
kind of keep them from line of sight and to just kind of prepare them for the coming British advance. He moved his artillery observer over here behind this tree so that he would be out of sight of the sniper. And it's a good thing he did that because recently the sniper just took a shot. Actually, this was like kind of in the early part of the game. My sniper, positioned over here in this tree line, took a shot at the machine gunner in this building, ignored the bonus to kill that the building gives, and killed the gunner on the machine gun, took it out completely. So that unit has been removed from play. And then the British mortar also had line of sight onto the German mortar, scored a direct hit, killed all 3 men. So that mortar is no longer gone. There's just a crater there to denote where that took place. And we can see the dead machine gunner there that toppled from the balcony. His friends, I guess, just took off. German half-track full of Waffen-SS advanced up, getting ready to make a play for that objective, I imagine, or possibly unload everyone to get up here into this undefended objective right now. So I'm sure the British attack has kind of taken the Germans by surprise, and they're scrambling people to get to that objective. We've got a tank here that took shots at the German machine gun in the tree line. I'm sorry, at the British machine gun at the Vickers. Hit all around them, but they did go down, so they did not end up taking any casualties. Also, we have the British artillery observer here in this tree line who did call down an artillery strike on this area, which is noted by this Topo Chico bottle cap. So the British have moved up into that possible range, and the Germans have moved away from it. So this could backfire. We're going to roll for it, find out what happens next. So we're going to roll for the artillery strike. If it comes in, then we're going to go ahead and show you what happens. If not, we're just going to play turn 2, and we will let you know what happens after that. So stay tuned. Actually, Seth, you want to just go ahead and roll for it right now so everybody can see it? Dice is over there on the counter. Sorry, folks. Oh, you want me to roll?
Yeah, I mean, it's your artillery strike.
That's true. Okay, all right. Well, now we'll roll. Here we go. What is that?
2.
So it looks like we're going to have to wait on that. There's been a delay in the comms to the battery, so the artillery strike is not going to come in on this turn. So we will go ahead and play turn 2, and we'll let you know what happens. So stay tuned. Okay, guys, we're back after turn 3, and as you can see, the British have crested the hill. They took shots at the sniper, didn't score any hits. However, the Bofors, the sniper was revealed when he fired at the Bofors, and the Bofors located him and hit him with one of their autocannon shells, and that is a dead German sniper, so he's out. These British soldiers here have crested the hill up to here. I just couldn't put the models up there, so that's denoted by that yellow bottle cap. The Germans are continually repositioning. The officers moved around here to this hard cover. This is a really nice little setup with this hill with the little outcroppings and stuff. It's kind of what I wanted to achieve. And then these guys just ended up going down. The artillery observer did manage to go ahead and issue his fire order. He's placed an order, a barrage over here on this ridge, which is very thinly defended at the moment by the British, so that's going to be interesting to see. German vehicles are spotted coming down the road. We've got an SDKFZ with a light AT gun that took a shot at one of the Brin carriers, the one that has moved over here. You can barely see it, but it's right here. Earlier it was exposed and took a shot from the AT gun, missed, so the Brin carrier got out of the way. We have 2 SDKFZs loaded down with troops making their way towards the foot of this ridge. The Panzer is covering. Panzer took shots at the British Vickers over here in the woods. The Vickers took a hit, is down to down to 2 men, and it also forced it to fail its orders test and go down. Actually, no, I'm sorry. The British Vickers went into ambush, but there never was anybody to shoot. Meanwhile, the British have moved their artillery marker over here to kind of like further right to kind of be more in the middle of the Germans, less in the middle of the British. So that has happened. We have another squad who came on the table in their Brin carrier. Squad of veterans, they jumped out over here into the orchard. So they're also looking to support this push up this hill. I think the British know that's going to be one of their toughest fights. There are 5 German squads still not on the table. So the British have 2 squads in outflank, but 3 of theirs are still on the table. So this is still anybody's game. The British seem to be making ground right now, but there is a large number of German reserves that have not even shown themselves yet. So also the British officer did come on here. The sniper took a shot. The sniper took a shot at the other sniper earlier before he was killed, and managed to put a pin on them, but it didn't matter because they were killed by the movers. So that's been that. So okay, so we're gonna go ahead and play turn 3, and in turn 3, people can start using the outflank orders that they've issued. So it ought to be pretty interesting. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and play turn 3. This is a really fun game so far. It looks really nice too. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and play turn 3, and we'll let you know how that goes. Oh, you know what we should do before we do that though? We're gonna roll for that. So let me roll for my strike first, since I ordered mine first. So here we go. British artillery doesn't come in. Oh, good God. So the Germans will get to move that a certain number of inches. And let's go ahead and roll for the German artillery strike, see if that comes in. This could be the game changer right here. It looks like the British will be moving the German artillery beacon. So this could cause a certain fair amount of chaos. This could be the tilt. So we're going to go ahead and move those, and we will let you know what happens after. Stay tuned. Okay, guys, we are back after the barrage. So, as you saw earlier, the Germans got to move the British artillery marker. That affected this squad right here and this squad. This squad only took 1 pin in the barrage, so it looks like the shell hit right in one of the craters and didn't kill any of the men. However, the Brin carrier got a little worse. It took 3 pins. It was a little bit more rattled, so it's going to be having some trouble getting those pins shed. It also turned out not very good for the Waffen SS because the British got to move that marker, and they were the only ones in range. And their own barrage came down on them and put 3 pins on the vehicle as well as 3 pins on the men inside. So, and their officer is way up on the hill right now, directing traffic up there. So they're going to have to figure out how to get past those pins. However, the men inside are veterans, and they are fanatics, so I guess fanatics doesn't have anything to do with the pin removal, but it will help them having the +10 to get rid of those pins. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and now play turn 3 with our outflanks, and we will let you know how that goes. So stay tuned. All right, guys, we are back after turn 3, and as you can see, it's been very, very interesting. We've got a little bit of a situation over here. The SAS squad did come in and outflank. They seized this bunker. It was completely unguarded. They put their their bristling fire down onto this half track and pinned the people inside with the Topo Chico pin there. And they were feeling pretty good. They were sitting there, but then out of nowhere, 3 here German squads came off the table and came from off the table. All of them putting shots every single time, getting 3 hits, killing a man. The NCO was killed, so they're down to a 9 in morale, and they've taken this many pins. So it's looking pretty dire for them. Their reinforcements that were in the Brin carrier tried to show up over here and save them, but failed because the Brin carrier was not a veteran, so it rolled a 9, couldn't get on the table. So yeah, we've got a swarm of here grenadiers right now, Pentagrins, that are giving the SAS a really rough time. They're down to 4 men. They are fanatics, so they don't have to take any morale tests yet, but they lost both of their loaders for both of their Brins, so they're down to 2 submachine guns and 2 Brins. So if those Brins want to fire at full effect, they've got to forfeit the firepower of the Thompson. So that's looking pretty bad. Meanwhile, all of these vehicles, at least these front 3 vehicles that were pinned so badly earlier, have now shed their pins. They rallied, every single one of them passed. This SD KFZ did fire up at the machine gun. It didn't manage to hit anybody. So and then the men inside were pinned. So both of these are still holding squads that have not even entered the fray yet. And as you can see, the British center is looking pretty slim, pretty weak. So we'll have to see what happens in the coming turns. Meanwhile, over here, a little bit different story for the British. Well, almost different. This squad finally crested the ridge, as we remember last turn. The German squad that's no longer here moved into the tree line, completely eliminating this squad. However, they were flanked by this other regular squad that found some good cover up here behind this little outcropping and managed to take that squad out completely. Officer rushed forward very bravely to respond, but did not manage to cause any damage. So officers now out in the open, facing down this squad at the end of this table. Meanwhile, we've got another squad of British vets that are moving up. The Bofors just advanced this turn, looking for new targets. It's now got a view down the valley, so hopefully it can start doing some stuff next turn. However, it's taking harassing fire from this guy right here with a rifle, who is putting down some decent fire on. It's just the observer, and he basically just is using his rifle to take shots at the Bofors, so that's not cool. Meanwhile, over here, machine gun has not yet sprung its ambush. Neither has a sniper. We have to roll for that to decide if they can do that. So, actually, Seth, you want to go and roll for that too? While we're watching? You got any dice? I want to go ahead and at least kind of give you guys a few dice rolls here. So, on a 4, 5, or 6, I believe the machine gun can spring his ambush and fire as normal. So, we'll roll that really quickly. And as you can see, that's a 4, so that's going to happen. And we'll roll for the sniper, and that's a 3. So the sniper will not fire, but the machine gun will fire. So we'll go ahead and see if we can put some pins down on those vehicles. I'll let you know if they were able to in the next turn. Meanwhile, one other thing happened. This this observer took a cue from the other observer and fired through the gap there. You can see, you can just barely see some Germans around the back of that bunker, so he did fire at them. Managed to pin one squad, but did not manage to cause any deaths. So British tank, the Sherman 2, also failed to make an appearance. So that's 3 units of the British still off the table. The Germans still have 2 full squads off the table, and they have 2 full squads in the half tracks that are not out yet. I also want to tell you that we looked at the points on Seth's list, and we realized he didn't realize that we were playing 1250, and so he only chose 1,216 points. But he still somehow is managing to just completely outman anything the British have. I think the British probably invested a little bit too much in transport and veteran squads that are now trapped up on that lonely hill. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and play turn 4, and we're going to let you know how it goes, so stay tuned. Okay, we're back after turn 4. Bloody turn 4 it was. The Germans are starting to move up. They're starting to, under fire, of course, unload their squads. So we've got a Here squad that did jump out of this vehicle. They took 2 pins from various small arms fire all along the ridge here, and they carried 1 pin with them and then took another pin when they sprung the sniper's ambush when they jumped out. So they are cresting the ridge, and again, the British defense is looking very, very small. The Bofors did take a shot and totally destroyed the half-track, and then realized that it hadn't failed its orders test, or it hadn't passed an orders test. Did that, failed, so now it is, it didn't do anything this turn, and it took another pin from the bristling machine gun fire from this Panzer IV that has moved out up here along the road, alongside this burning SDKFZ half-track that was that took a direct hit from the mortar and is now in flames, killing the entire crew. Meanwhile, some British reinforcements did enter the table, but they decided to abandon this objective for the time being, instead coming over here to aid the defense of the one objective in no man's land. So they took cover here before any Germans had unloaded, fired into that half-track, managed to put pins on them. So that's going on. One of these half-tracks, one of these Brim carriers kept an ambush. The other one did fire and put more pins on that. We had a brilliant showdown between the German officer and the squad. The German officer jumped up on top of the outcropping, fired their submachine guns into the squad, killing 3 men. They were quickly answered with silencing fire from the British squad, who is now making their way to the objective. They're going to be supported by this squad of veterans who has already crested the hill where their comrades were lost earlier. So that's going on there. Meanwhile, the plight of the SAS, they're down to 2 men and continuing to take just like crushing fire from all 3 of these squads who have them completely surrounded almost. So the only thing for them to do is go down and just kind of pray that they can hold the objective, but it's not looking too good for them. More fire from the observers, you acting as riflemen, firing at the Bofors. Bofors is down to 1 man, so they're now firing at a -1 to hit. The Sherman 2 did make it onto the table and is facing down the road now at the half-tracks in good cover. Much in the same way that the Wolverine in the last, in part 1 of this battle, did earlier. So hopefully it can also find a little bit of success. Brim carrier sandwiched down here in this little redoubt, getting some shots onto the German half-tracks before they unload. So Germans are pushing on this objective hard. It's just a matter of if the British will be able to have the manpower when it's all said and done to stop them, because there also is 1 more German squad.
Oh yeah, 1 more.
One more German squad in outflank. Yeah.
No, they're just in the transport.
Oh, they're just in the transport. Oh, okay. 1 more German squad of Waffen SS in the transport. So, yeah, so it's looking pretty rough. So we're going to go ahead and play the next turn, and we will let you know how it goes, so stay tuned. Alright guys, we're back after extremely bloody turn 5. Okay, so first of all, the Germans finally dismounted out of their half-tracks, and they did manage to get up onto the side of this hill. However, only 1 man, as you can see in this squad right here, was able to breach the trench. So they were sadly exposed up here, and they took brutal interlocking fire from several directions. All of these, the first movement of the first squad sprung the ambush that was left on ambush from the last turn by this half-track here. And here, let me just do that. And the other one, sorry, not half-track, Brin carrier. The other Brin carrier opened up on the second squad. And as you can see from the Brin's perspective, they are just exposed up there on the side of that hill. So they took lots of damage. The Bofors tried to get in the fight, but unfortunately it foobarred and had to retreat back, so it might have actually saved itself, but it is pretty much out of this fight. The Sherman did try to take some shots at the half-tracks, but also missed there, so that's unfortunate. The British squads up here, what's left of them, are starting to advance onto this objective that's now only being held by the the forward observer. So they did take shots as they were advancing onto the other ridge to help their brethren out. So they also helped supply the pins and the depth. The thing about both of those German squads, though, is they're both Waffen-SS and they're both fanatics. So they can take casualties all day long, they can take pins all day long, but they're still not going to have the orders test. So they're going to be really difficult to budge. Meanwhile, this squad over here did take some fire from the woods after this bloody fight that cost the Germans a whole entire squad of grenadier. The SAS were, two members of the SAS were left in there. They were assaulted by the Germans, by one of the squads, and won the assault. Took that squad out, lost a man. They were assaulted a second time by another squad, and that squad did manage to get them rooted out. So as you can see, the cost over here has been huge, but the Germans firmly hold that objective. The Panzer is trying its best to support the men up here. It's used its coaxial machine guns to fire at the mortar. The mortar ended up just going down. Maybe you can take needless casualties if they don't have any targets. The sniper was fired on, but with all the pins on the Waffen-SS, there's not much chance of hitting. The machine gun was also able to kind of rake this squad as well. So as you can see, both squads currently have 1, 2, 3, 4 pins apiece. So yeah, it's looking pretty dire there for them, but they are on the objective, and all they have to do to win this game is just have a man on the objective, just have him sitting there. So yeah, it's going to be very difficult. They also are supported by both of their empty transports. So yeah, it's going to be hard to see what it's going to be interesting to see what transpires in the next turn. So it's going to be turn 6, and man, this one could go to turn 7. Who knows? Who knows? So yeah, we're going to go ahead and play the next turn, and we'll let you know what happens. So stay tuned. All right, guys, we are back after the end of turn 6. Now, the Germans are being contested on this objective, and as you can see, they basically have taken a lot of casualties. Never were really able to get into the trench. We started the game with British guy being pulled and firing, and the Waffen-SS just went down on the objective, so they basically were just avoiding taking as many casualties. And it looks like the British officer and the sniper have stormed off into the middle of them, I guess, to try and take them prisoner. So that's where it stands at the end of turn 6. And they are. This game is not going into a turn 7, so it's looking like that objective is going to remain contested. The SDKFZ did try to put shots on this squad over here. The squad also took fire from this squad on the ridge. So they did lose. Actually, they didn't lose any men. They just gained pins, but they did fire, put shots into the fanatics. So a little bit convoluted over here, but basically the main thing to remember is that that objective is contested. But meanwhile, over here, Seth had moved his observer up to just hold this objective. He was promptly assaulted by a squad of veterans, moved up and took that objective from him, so he is now dead, and the British hold this objective. And of course we know over here the SAS met their bloody end. I guess they just weren't cut out for this non-desert warfare, but they made a bloody stand, but ended up going down, and the Germans hold that objective. So that makes it where it's basically tied. The Germans hold one objective, and the British hold one objective. However, the rules of the WWPD scenario, frontal assault, which is what we're playing, state that if both sides are tied in a draw, then it goes to casualties. And the British took out a lot more Germans than the Germans took out British. I think the British lost one squad. The Germans lost. Do we have those dice out anywhere, or we already packed them up?
It was like a 9.
The Germans lost roughly 9 units, and still somehow managed to severely outnumber the British. But anyway, more units that put fire into the squad on the hill were the Bren carriers. The Panzer IV did move up and take shots up here. and didn't hit anybody up there. So that didn't do much. And the Sherman did also try to fire and hit the men on the hill, but they ended up just going down, so he wasn't able to hit anybody. Now you may be wondering, did you forget to play with Panzerfear again? Or Tiger Fear again? Yes, the answer is yes. We always, for some reason, I just always forget to play with that rule. And for some other reason, my opponent also always forgets. So it's just, I guess it's just something we're not used to. I'm always reminded in tournaments, and I always adhere to it, and I don't mind the rule. It's not a bad rule. It's just that I just forget to play it. I'm just so used. I've played version 1 so much. There's a lot of version 2 that's stuck, but when you get in the middle of these games and you just start playing, you just kind of forget to do something like that, to just orders test your units all the time, even if they don't have a pin, if they're in view of the Panzer. So I'm going to try and remember to play with that rule more often. I know a lot of you guys like it. I know some people don't like it, but it is a rule. It is in the game, so I am going to try and remember. But this time we didn't. So the Panzer IV did not cause any fear to the British of it being a Tiger. So anyway, yep. So a couple more things. This Bren carrier just turned and fired at all the men on the hill. Managed to kill one man, and the machine gun ended up just going down, taking fire from the FDKF machine gun, and the Bofors ended up going down. There came a point where I just started I had like 10 dice left to use. The Germans had used all their die, and it was clear that I was going to be able to contest the objectives, so I just ended up putting all my units down. So yeah, that's the game. It's a British victory, an unlikely one and a hard-fought one, but it looks like this German army's morale has broken. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this battle report. This is actually really one of the more fun games that I've played in a long time. And it was really nice looking too. So I'm glad you guys wanted to see another battle on this table. I think this one was better than the last one, honestly. I think it had kind of more cinematic angles and also more like just a lot more kind of drama that took place. But let me know what you think. And let me know, well, actually, so coming up soon, I hope to have more desert battles for you guys. I'm going to be building a desert table and painting up some of the new Warlord DAC and British 8th, and hopefully be getting some Western Desert style battles in soon. You can check my Instagram at BoltActionAction to see pictures of what I paint. You can follow me there, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And also don't forget to join our great Texas Community Bolt Action group on Facebook. A lot of really nice guys, really laid back, and we love to see just pictures of armies that people have painted, even if you don't live in Texas. Just join, say hi, say that you were sent there from the Texas Bolt Action YouTube channel, and yeah, we're going to be putting more videos out, hopefully at a stronger pace, life and stuff. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you for watching, and hope to see you soon. Take care.